everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of VSF Christmas. My name is Jay Whitefield. Now, before we actually get into this video, I'd like to share with you a wee story. Now, I've always liked going around garden centres around about this time of year. Garden centres, I feel, pull out the best stops at Christmas time. Okay, so other shops have, decorations up and they're piping through Christmas music. But because of what garden centres sell, they sell trees, plants, stuff for your garden. The stuff that they actually carry at Christmas time and their displays, well, they really are generally something to behold. Some obviously can do it better than others. You have some garden centres that kind of make a wee Christmas cave of wonders type thing, and it's, they really do go all out. So anyway, I was actually at my local garden centre the other day, and I was having a wee look around, at the Christmas stuff that they'd got. And one of the things that I came upon was really something that was quite interesting. And I just had to pick it up, at least so I could make a video for you guys. Santa is coming to Aberdeen. Now this is a storybook illustrated by Robert Dunn and published by Hometown World and written by Steve Smallman. And the blurb on the back reads, "Have you been good? Are you ready to go to sleep? Then Santa is coming to town. Read about what happens to Santa when he visits Aberdeen." Now, some of you might actually recognise this book, and if you do, you might actually recognise it as Santa coming to your hometown or state or whatever. Now, when I read this book, and yes, I have read it, I kind of realised that it wasn't necessarily Aberdeen specific. Sure, it mentions place names and what have you, but a lot of the illustrations do not really reflect Aberdeen and what Aberdeen actually looks like. The only thing that looks even remotely Aberdeen-esque is this wee gazebo thing, which can be found on the castle gate. Apart from that, and I guess that kind of looks a wee bit like the music hall. Actually, the front cover does look a wee bit Aberdeen-esque, but there is one issue. These houses, they're coloured. They are actually a colour that isn't grey. That's not very Aberdeen-like. Anyway, so YouTube user Road Geek, he actually, he was like, "I'm really sorry to burst your bubble, Jay, but I've seen that book, as Santa Comes to North Carolina." And to be honest, when I was reading through it, I did actually have my suspicions that this was not an Aberdeen specific thing. However, that does not mean to say that it's not going to bring a wee bit of magic to your kids' Christmases. Someone's actually wrote a book that references places that your kids will probably know about. And it's like, oh, this is Santa, he's coming in here, and then he's going there. And it just kind of makes it a bit more real. Now, what I'm going to do is something that I normally would not attempt on this channel. I'm actually going to read this book. Now, there is a small problem with that. This video could probably end up being pulled. Also, being visually impaired, the way I've got the camera set up, I'm not actually going to be close enough to read the book. Hopefully, though, the print should be big enough to sustain me. These kids' books usually are kind of larger print. But you might be wondering, what on earth am I going to do with a kids' book? Well, this particular copy of the book is going to be donated to the office of my local MP, and as she is actually collecting books at the moment. So Kirsty Blackman will get this book when I can find a way to get it to her. Anyway, enough of that. Let's start reading. So you can actually sign who this book is to. Merry Christmas from Santa. That could be quite good. Could be like almost like Santa wrote a journal. Anyway, Santa is coming to Aberdeen. Okay, have we had enough front covers yet? Seriously. Well, boomed Santa, have all the children of Aberdeen been good this year? Well, mostly, answered the little old elf as he bustled across the busy workshop to Santa's desk. Santa peered down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering piles of letters that all the children of Aberdeen had sent him. Mostly? Asked Santa, looking over the top of his glasses. Yes, but they've all been especially good for the last few days, said the elf. Jolly good, chuckled Santa. Then we better get their presents loaded up. Even though the sack of presents was really, really big, and the elves were really, really small, they seemed to have no trouble loading it into Santa's sleigh. Though how they managed to fit such a big sack onto the little sleigh, even they don't know, but somehow they did. Splendid, boomed Santa. We're ready to go. Not quite, Santa, said the little old elf. One of our reindeer's missing. Missing? Which reindeer is missing? Asked Santa. The youngest one, Santa, said the elf. It's his first night tonight. I've called him, but... Just then, a young reindeer strolled up, munching on a large carrot. Where have you been? Asked Santa. The youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he had not heard the little elf calling. Oh well, never mind, said Santa, giving the reindeer a little wink. He took out his Santa nav and tapped in the postcode AB for Aberdeen. This will guide us to Aberdeen in no time. With a flick of the reins and a jerk of the harness, off they went, racing through the sky. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. We'll soon have these parcels delivered to the Silver City. Santa's sleigh flew through the starry night, heading south across the North Sea. On they flew in the crisp, wintry air over Lossiemouth. In the wink of an eye, the sleigh was flying above Inverurie and on to Aberdeen. The youngest reindeer was very excited. He had never been away from the North Pole before. They were just coming over Aberdeen Airport when suddenly they ran into a blizzard. Snowflakes whirled around the sleigh. They couldn't see a thing. The youngest reindeer was getting a wee bit worried, but Santa didn't seem concerned. In 2 kilometres, said the Santa Nav in a bossy lady voice. Keep left at the next star. "But, madam," Santa blustered, "I can't see any stars in all this snow." Soon they were hopelessly lost. Then, through the howling blizzard, the youngest reindeer heard a faint ringing sound. Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong! Okay, you get the point. He looked over at the old reindeer with the red nose, but he had his head down. Red nose. I wonder who that could be. Listen, I think he'd been at Santa's sherry. Getting on. There was that sound again, like church bells ringing. The youngest reindeer turned around to look at Santa, but Santa wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with a little box with buttons on it. With a flick of the harness and a jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and headed off towards the sound of the bells, pulling Santa and his sleigh behind him. "Whoa!" cried Santa, pulling his hat straight. "What's going on?" Then, to his surprise, he heard a ringing sound. "Well done, young reindeer," he shouted cheerfully. "It must have been the bells of St. Nicholas Kirk. Don't worry, children, Santa is coming." But suddenly, crunch! The sleigh hit something as it plummeted through the snow clouds. "You have arrived," said the Santa Nav unhelpfully. Finally, when the snow had died down and the clouds parted, Santa discovered exactly where they were. Stuck right at the very top of the Christmas tree in Castlegate. The reindeer pulled with all their might until at last, with a screeching noise, the sleigh scraped clear off the Christmas tree, and Santa steered them safely over Marshall College, over Union Street, past the music hall, over Ferry Hill Library, and down into Duthie Park. Luckily, there was no real damage done, but the parcels had all been jumbled up. Santa quickly sorted the parcels into order again. "Right," said Santa. "Thanks to this young reindeer, I know where we are now. Don't worry, children, Santa is coming." Santa drove his sleigh expertly from rooftop to rooftop all over Aberdeen, popping in and out of chimneys as fast as he could go, which was pretty fast for a chubby chap. There were big chimneys in Cults and small chimneys in Woodside. He squeezed down thin chimneys in Dice and plummeted down fat chimneys in Torry. The youngest reindeer was amazed at how quickly they went. Santa never seemed to get tired at all, and it looked like the children in Aberdeen were going to be very lucky this year. But the youngest reindeer was starting to feel a bit weary and quite hungry too. In house after house, Santa delved inside his sack for parcels of every shape and size. He piled them under the Christmas trees and carefully filled up the stockings with surprises. In house after house, the good children of Aberdeen had left out a large mince pie, a small glass of something, and a big crunchy carrot. Santa took a little bite of each mince pie, a tiny sip of something, wiped his beard and popped the carrots into his sack. From West Hill to Ferry Hill, from Kincorth to Bucksburn, from Cooter to Tillydrone, and all the places in between, Santa and his sleigh visited every house in Aberdeen. Santa delivered presents to Alex, Ava, Ben, Brooke, Cameron, Chloe. The list went on and on. Zach, Zara, Zibble. Zibble? That must be a spelling mistake, surely. Finally, Santa had delivered the last present on his long Aberdeen list. "Great moons and stars," sighed Santa. "It's past midnight, and my sack seems as heavy as ever. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone." Santa opened his sack to check, but it was full of juicy, crunchy carrots. Santa shared out the carrots between all the reindeer. "Well done, lad," he said, patting the youngest reindeer gently on the nose. But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him. He was too busy munching. Then it was time to set off for home. Santa set his Santa nav for the North Pole, and soon they were speeding above the harbour and over the North Sea through the crisp, starry night. "Ho, ho, ho," laughed Santa. "Merry Christmas, Aberdeen." So that was the story of Santa is Coming to Aberdeen. Like I said, now that I've read this book out on video, I'm going to try and find a way to get it to Kirsty Blackman's office so that it can actually be put into the hands of a child, which I hope will enjoy it as much as I hope you have. Anyway, that concludes this episode of VSF Christmas. If you like this video and you like what I do, please feel free to subscribe, to like videos on Frontier on Facebook, and to follow me on Twitter. Until then, thank you for watching this video, and please join me for my next one. Goodbye.